What we all saw between Charlotte Flair and Tiffany Stratton wasn't the plan. Welcome, wrestling fans, because we are in a deep dive into a situation that many people are calling a WWE nightmare, the unscripted and undeniable personal promo exchange between Charlotte Flair and Tiffany Stratton on Friday Night SmackDown. In this video, we are going to be peeling back the layers, looking into the rumored backstage environment, dissecting exactly what was said, and uncovering the real truth behind this moment that has the entire wrestling world talking. Was this a calculated risk that paid off, or did things go completely off the rails? Let's get into it. Now, keep in mind that I am recording this days after this. I've been on top of this situation, this topic, if you will, since it happened. But now we're really getting a lot of info. We got backstage news from Fightful and Wrestling Observer and PW Insider and so much more. And I felt like everyone needed an overview, if you will, of this situation. Now, we know that Charlotte Flair will be challenging Tiffany Stratton for the Women's Championship at WrestleMania 41 from Allegiant Stadium in just over a week. Okay, and the Charlotte Flair Tiffany Stratton promo battle in the April 4th episode of Friday Night SmackDown will likely be remembered in infamy due to the segment going off script. We're talking about Flair mocking Stratton's voice, Tiffany poking fun at Charlotte's 3 divorces, being two of the more memorable moments out of this promo exchange. Now, after Stratton said that Flair was 0 for 3 in marriages, she got out of the ring, and Charlotte chimed in and asked why Ludwig Kaiser was in her DMs. As many people know, Kaiser, Tiffany Stratton, they are in a relationship, right? So obviously we're bringing up personal things. Now, there was heat on both women after this segment, and Fightful Select has reported the situation was referred to as a wreck within WWE. Now, on Tuesday's episode of Wrestling Observer Live, Brian Alvarez, he brought up some interesting points that I want to break down here. And he said this: Tiffany starts doing all of her lines. She mentioned Charlotte is a Nepo baby, which is a scripted line. But then Charlotte jumps in with Nepo Queen, the number one Nepo baby. That was not scripted. Then she starts making fun of Tiffany's voice, which was absolutely not in the script. She ridiculed her and doing the high pitched voice thing. Then Tiffany, I guess she was over it. She mentioned 0 and 3. The discussion about the divorces and everything like that was all in the script. But the line about 0 and 3, which was a reference to how many times she's been divorced, was not in the script. Tiffany ended up throwing down the mic and rolling out of the ring, which is a heel move, and she's supposed to be the babyface. That was also not in the script. And he continued. And if you watch it, she throws down the mic and she starts to roll out of the ring. And Charlotte is walking towards her, and Wade Barrett, he is going to get in between these two because he can see that this thing has gone totally off the rails. They go to the back, and the fact is there was heat on both of them. There was more heat on Charlotte because she went off script more and is the veteran. She's the one that's supposed to be the one that keeps this stuff going. Now, Fightful Select, they also noted that Flair directly addressing the boos from the crowd was not planned, but it was considered the run-of-the-mill ad-libbing that would never get anyone in any heat. Keep in mind that you could tell from the get-go that these fans had no interest in hearing Charlotte Flair speak. They were not interested in what she had to say. They did not want to hear from her. They did not want to see her. Matter of fact, if she would just stand there and get roasted by Tiffany Stratton, they would be elated. They had no interest in Charlotte Flair. That's a different subject. But where I think this went off the rails at the very get-go, from the very point, was Charlotte did not know how to handle the fans overwhelmingly booing her. This has been a situation in which longtime wrestling fans know that Charlotte Flair, she doesn't know how to deal with that, and rightfully so. I think that's a lot easier said than done. You know, we've seen heels, your Triple H's, your Vince's, your Stephanie's, your top tier heels, or in management, when they are put in those situations where they cannot get in a word, they literally just start screaming over the fans, and then the fans will finally shut up. And Tiffany would start, and then she would stop. And when you start and stop, that is when you're never going to succeed in over talking the crowd, right? The boos are going to drown you out. But at that point, you are not focused as a performer on the intended crowd. Okay, the fans who paid their money to sit in that seat and witness in person what you were going to do on the show, that is no longer your first priority. Keep in mind that I think arguably that shouldn't be your top priority, right? You're a television show. You're playing to the audience at home, the millions upon millions of wrestling fans, not the ones that are sitting in those seats. So I think going forward, she has got to realize that. Someone has to go, hey, I know you got flustered. I know it did not work out how you wanted to, but you cannot do the start and stop. So where do we go from here? Anyone that says, "Oh, this match is off," or "Oh, what if they do this?" or "What if they do that?" Y'all, this match is happening. There's not a shadow of a doubt in my mind that this match is going forward. WWE will book Charlotte Flair versus Tiffany Stratton at WrestleMania 41. Likely, according to Vegas and just really common sense, the general census is Charlotte Flair is going over. Charlotte Flair is going to win another title, and she's going to dethrone Tiffany Stratton. Whether you like it or you don't, whether you think it's the wrong call or the right call, she's going over. Now, if I'm WWE, I'm putting, Tiffany Stratton over, right? She's a younger star. She's the more um, higher ceiling star. But I also thought that two things. One, Booker T said on his podcast that Tiffany Stratton is not on the level of Charlotte Flair from an in-ring point to a promo point, and that no one should expect her to be on the same level as Charlotte Flair as a promo. And I would agree. He does bring up a valid point of like she does not have the experience that Charlotte Flair has. However, you can make the argument that Tiffany Stratton handled that situation a lot better than Charlotte Flair did. Right? Charlotte Flair, I think she turned 39 this year. She's been in this game for a while, a lot longer than Tiffany Stratton. Is she a better promo than Tiffany? Yes. Is she a better in-ring, wrestler than Tiffany? Yes. The fact is, she handled this situation a lot better than Charlotte. Now, that's not to say if you put Tiffany in Charlotte's shoes, how does she handle the reactions, the boos, everything like that? Well, you know what? That's up to speculation. We'll never know. Maybe in the future, she'll be in a spot like that where they're supposed to do a work shoot and the crowd just absolutely drowns her out. We don't know. We won't find out until that moment happens. But regardless, when things start going off the rails, both of these women did not handle things the greatest. You can't do that. When this is classic example of why shoot promos on television don't work. There's a difference between a shoot work and a shoot promo. When you shoot, no one cares. No one cares, right? Um, the shoot work is trying to build up equity in the fans' eyes of a reason why I should care about these two stars and why I should pay money to see them go out there and wrestle each other. Do I care who wins? That's at the end of the day. Now, Tiffany Stratton, who came off as a heel in this segment, I think she's going to actually get more support from the fan base from a babyface standpoint than ever after this segment because it gives credence to, hey, we don't like Charlotte Flair. And WWE's got to talk to Charlotte about this whole promo thing, in my opinion.